Hey, what's going on? This is Marquiste Boyce, and I am on with my guy Don Digital today, and we're going to be showing you how you can basically drive hands-free social growth. And what I mean by that is I'm going to show you a process to where you can completely automate your Instagram threads to where threads are posting completely on autopilot, and you don't have to do anything but set up the system that we're going to show you in this software. So before we dive into it, like I said, my name is Marquiste Boyce, and I am an AI and automation consultant for business owners. My goal is all about making you compress time, get that time back so you can actually spend it with your family, because that's the most important thing to me is actually building a business that works for me instead of the other way around. So I can just have way more time to spend with my loved ones. And now I'll pass it off to my man Don Digital so we can do a quick intro before we dive into this thing.
Hey, what's going on, family? I'm Don digital ads expert. I pretty much just specialize on online advertising for local businesses and online coaches and consultants, and also how to connect those online advertising, platforms to AI tools that Marquise is going to talk about today. Super excited to be a part of the video and to show you guys some dope stuff that we've been working on. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yep, and this is just the first of many. We have so many cool tips and tools that we're going to be showing you how to do with AI to not only like do stuff for social media, but building apps, personal assistants. So this is going to be our first video, just kind of like showing you kind of behind the scenes of how you can do some of this stuff. And the cool part about it is at the end of it as well, I'm going to give you the complete template that I've built this whole system with. And so you can implement it into your business and literally be having Instagram running on threads completely on autopilot for you as well. So I'm just kind of going to go through a couple of slides here just to kind of show how this is built off. But even before I kind of like even go into the slides itself, this particular screenshot, just kind of shows the power. And 519 is not a ton of views, but when you pretty much are starting to complete zero, you just think if you're like posting nothing, there's a huge difference between 0 and 519 views. And that's what the system was able to do just over the last 7 days of it just continuously running in the background. And it's like hands off for me. I don't have to worry about it. I just get the benefit of the interactions that it actually benefits for me. So how does it look in practice? So I'm going to actually go to my screen here and show you how it looks in practice. So if you look at my threads account here, you can see that, 21 minutes ago, it posted a thread here. And then an hour before that, it posted a thread. And then 2 hours before that, it posted a thread. And 3 hours before that, it posted a thread. And 4 hours, and 5 hours, and 6 hours. And I'll tell you, I've been hanging out in downstairs working, chilling with my son most of the morning. I haven't posted anything. I haven't even thought about posting. This is just running in the background. And so that's why, like I said, we're going to show you how powerful this can be, because these aren't just writing gibberish posts. These are posts that are written in my brand name, that's written based on my expertise. And I'm going to show you how it's all plugged into a system. And if we show what that system looks like, this is all it takes. You might be like, oh, wait, what is this? Well, this is what we call a workflow. And this workflow is what I'm going to go over in this particular presentation with you guys and show you kind of how this is set up from end to end. Before we dive into that, let me just kick off one of the biggest benefits of by using this particular AI agent. This AI agent runs for less than a penny per post. So just imagine that, literally 1/10 of a cent. So you could generate hundreds of posts for Instagram threads for less than a cup of coffee. And it's just completely running in the background. So even before we hop in, you're wondering like, oh man, how expensive this is going to be. It's not expensive at all. Literally less than a penny here. And so now we're going to continue things on. And so why build this? Well, first and foremost, social media is time consuming. I don't know about you, Don, but social media for me is kind of like the afterthought of what I do. I'm so usually focused on actually doing the thing than I am actually about posting my results and my highlights. And we both have tons and tons of testimonials and client stories. But sometimes posting about it is like the hard part.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And outside of business, we got personal lives as well. We have families that we need to spend time with. And for me personally, I mean, I'm in the online advertising space, so I do understand and comprehend the importance of content. But at the same time, it's like I understand how time consuming it could be, how daunting it could be. And sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, let's just be real. Like, even if you have the ideas and stuff like that, some days it's just like, I don't feel like pulling out the camera and recording, different pieces of content. So, yeah, man, I'm definitely with you on that one. And I think like what you're about to cover is really going to help with that specific pain point. And I know you're going to touch on it, but before you even get into that, like you mentioned something that was super key, and it was how like the like not only is it automated, but it's in your own tonality, and I think that's important as
Mhm.
well because when it comes to advertising and even like automations on the back end, right? I tell people all the time is that the workflows that you create is just an extension of your brand. So like the tonality of the emails that you send, the text messages that you send to your clients, it still has even though your face isn't on that, it still has to match the tonality of the overall brand as well. So I think like what you mentioned was super key because I think people have the misconception of like just because something is automated that it's just a thing that you don't really have to put much thought into it. It's just, hey,
Yeah.
I'm just sending out a text or I'm making a post, and they just don't really think about like the extension of their brand. So I thought, that was really, really dope, that you
No, I'm
touched on.
glad that that you caught that as well, because I specifically mentioned that it's kind of like in my brand voice, because as you mentioned, so many people have the misconception that automated means cold and impersonal, but no, that's the beauty of the age that we're in with like these AI agents, to where we can give them enough data so that they can think for themselves, and the more information that they have about you, the more lifelike the responses are, and it's just only getting better.
Yep.
And like I said, it's one of those things to where, social media is time consuming, and then posting and just being consistently posting can be just very hard for people. So that's why having these tools and being able to implement them is going to be such game changers in the business. So that's why we built this. It's like, that's why I started with something like Instagram Threads as well. It was a network that I hadn't really posted on at all. So I'm like, okay, how would this look if we go from zero to whatever the sky is, the limit is? So right now, you're literally catching me in the process of just getting started, and I'm only going to continue to make this agent better as you watch along. And so that's what this AI Threads agent is. Basically, I showed you a screenshot of it, but with Instagram Threads, you want to keep your posts under 500 characters. So this agent is specifically notated to say, hey, create a particular post, make sure it's under 500 characters. And then the beauty of this is that the posts go live completely automatically. Like, I don't actually have to do anything. I don't have to think about the post. I don't have to schedule the post. I don't have to go and actually press the button to make sure the post is there. And then the beauty of it as well is I have all that information and go into a spreadsheet for me as well. So that way I can always go back to see, what's been posted, have a catalog of all the posts that's been done. But that's in the end how this AI agent works. And to actually use it, you only need really three different tools. And they're all super affordable to where you can get started with them all, literally with like a free plan, and then just continue to build it from there. So the three tools we're going to be talking about today is one is called N8N, and that is an AI agent and workflow builder. Now, if I go back to my screen here, this is what N8N is here. So this is the workflow builder. And when I say workflow, a workflow is just a process that data goes through. So something happens here on the left side for the trigger, and then all these steps here through the workflow goes all the way in until it basically makes it to the Google Sheets. And so that's what N8N is for. And so that's why you need this service, because it's basically the backbone of the automation. And the beauty of it is it's super inexpensive. Like, you can get started with the paid plan for $24 a month, or they have what is called their self-hosted plan, to where you can actually put in on your own server, and you don't actually have to pay for any of the processing transactions that you normally would on the paid plan. So just kind of show you what that looks like, I'm going to go back to my other screen here. So this is N8N on the website, and if we were to go to their pricing plan here, $24 a month is basically what you can get started with here as a very beginning. And you said you do get a free 14-day trial. So you can literally take everything I'm going to show you and be able to utilize it for free. But the reason why I'm on the other plan, which is called the self-hosted plan, is because now you basically be able to use N8N completely unlimited. Because with this plan here, you can see you can only have 2.5 thousand workflow executions, which is a lot. But we're scaling our businesses, so that's why we work on this self-hosted plan. So that's why I mentioned both of them. You can use a service here like Hozinger. We'll drop the links for all this here, but they have a plan here that you get for $4.99 a month, and this allows you to use the self-hosted plan of N8N. And the beauty of that one is now, because you're hosting it on your own machine, you have the ability to run it completely unlimited. So you're not capped at like the 2.5 thousand executions like you are on the paid plan, and it's only $40.99 compared to $4 or whatnot. So that's the two difference between those. The second thing you're going to need is an OpenAI key. And she said, well, what's OpenAI? So OpenAI is just basically just ChatGPT. And with the API key, that's just the key that you get that allows you to basically use NAN to talk to ChatGPT and send messages back and forth in between each other. So to get something like that, like you don't actually go into ChatGPT and get your API key. You actually have to go to the OpenAI website. And if you just Google it, you'll find it, but it's like platform.openai.com. And then here on the left side, this is where you would come to actually get your API key. So once you sign up for an account, and if you already don't have a ChatGPT account, you come in here, you click on API keys, and this is here, you just click on where you want to create a new key. And now we'll just call it something like, N8N, because you're going to be using it with your N8N accounts. And so you can see I already have a couple of ones here. And then it's going to give you a key. You're going to copy in that key because you're going to paste it a little bit later. And then the last thing you're going to need as well is Blotato. Before I continue with that, though, with OpenAI, one thing I do want to mention is that it's not free to use. I think once you sign up for it, they allow you to use it for like 100 credits or something like that. But you do have to have a plan to continue, and it's not like a plan to where it's like a subscription. You basically just put money on a wallet. So like I come in here right now, and if I was to look at my usage here, I can basically see that right now it's still loading here, but like I can see I have $5 still on my wallet. I've only spent like 66 cents so far. And like I said, this has been running hundreds and hundreds of times per month, and I've only spent 66 cents so far. So, but once again, that's where you can see, but you do have to have at least $5 minimum on your wallet. So once you sign up, it's going to ask you to basically just put $5 on your wallet as a minimum deposit. You're going to need that. And then the last thing you need for this agent is a tool called Blotato. And the reason why we use this tool is because I'm going to pull that one up as well. But Blotato is a tool that basically allows you to self-post to all the different social media networks without you having to post yourselves. So once you sign up for this software here, and this software does a lot of stuff, but the feature that we're actually using this software for is really only one feature. And if I was to go down here to the pricing table here, we're only using it for this social media API feature. All the other stuff we're actually not using this for. But this tool allows you to now post on LinkedIn, post on Threads, post on Facebook, post on Instagram, post on TikTok. You can use this tool to post to all these things. And so how that works is once you sign up for a plan, and you're going to be able to go into your NAN account and then select Blotato, and then you're going to be able to continue from there. But that's going to be the next step going so far. Have you used any of these tools so far, Don? I know you've used N8N before, obviously, but have you used Blotato or heard of it before?
Honestly, I've heard about it, but not. I've heard of it, but I did not know that it did everything you just said. So, like,
Gotcha. Yeah.
so my question is, okay, so just for clarity, right? Because sometimes I could be a little slow. So we're gonna use Blotato so that we can connect the APIs, right? Are we using it because of? Are we using How do you say Blotato? Are
Blotato.
we using that so that we can connect the APIs through OpenAI so that we can post on those different platforms that you just mentioned, or is that the
Yep. So
reason?
we're using Blotato so we can post directly on the social media network. So if I go back to my workflow here,
Mhm.
basically how it works is that this is a step here that we'll talk about in the next slide. This is where OpenAI comes in, and this is where it does the research for the actual thread post. And then there's a step here. This is a Blotato step that
Okay,
basically has, once you sign up for Blotato, you're going to be able to integrate it with all your different social media platforms. And
gotcha.
so now I have it integrated with my Threads platform here, and then I can select either my account or Teresa's account because I have it connected to both of ours. So
Okay,
right now, this is basically saying when I execute step, it's going to take whatever that I got from OpenAI and it's going to post it to Instagram Threads. And
gotcha.
so down the line, and this is going to get ahead of ourselves, we can even have this be multi social media networks to where maybe I want to have it not just post to Threads, but maybe I also want to have it post to X as well, because X is about the same type of content. So then I can just add Blotato here, create step for that one, and instead of saying Instagram from here, it would be saying TikTok. I would select my account from the list here. So then now I have like two steps here. It's where it's taking the posts and it's posting it to Threads, and then it's also posting it to TikTok as well. So that's basically what Blotato is, though. It just has you connect all of your social media sites to Blotato and their interface, and then when you come into N8N, it allows you to use their API to then post to those social media
Got you.
networks.
That makes sense. All right. So Blotato is pretty much the middleman because you can't directly connect the API to like an Instagram or
That's
like a
correct.
Facebook. So you use the Blotato as like the middleman because then
Yeah,
it can
it's
connect it.
literally just like a middleman
Yeah.
because
Okay.
trying to go to LinkedIn and connect to their API, and then trying to go to Instagram and connect to their API, that could be a lot of work, and
Yeah.
damn near impossible if you don't have the coding experience. So that's why
Mhm.
her software is super cool, because she's already done that hard work, and so now we just able to use it as a middleman.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yep. So good stuff. So good stuff. All right. So now I'm going to quickly continue here. So how does this agent work? So super simple, other than the fact that it's hands off, it just, the steps are just so dead simple. So there's a trigger that happens. And the way I have it set right now is that basically the trigger is at the top of the hour. So every time it hits the top of the hour, this automation is going to trigger, because I found that you can post on Instagram threads, I believe up to like 25 times a day. So I was like, okay, if I have it post every hour, that gives me 24 posts a day. Why not utilize the maximum amount of posts that I can, especially if I'm not having to post on myself? So every hour on the trigger, it goes off. And then I put a delay step in there. And this delay step is that way it doesn't look like bot activity. So it's like a random time period. So that way it's not posting 1 o'clock and then 2 o'clock and then 3 o'clock. It might post at 1:04, and then it might post at 2:02, and then it might post at 3:10. So that's what that delay step is. And then once the delay step happens, now the AI content gets generated. There's the step with the AI agent where it basically has a prompt in it, which I'll show you here in the next step, that says, I want you to create me a viral Instagram thread. Here's all the details about my business. And then it goes out, it creates that post. It only takes it maybe about 20 seconds to create the post. And then it just posts it. It posts it onto the threads from there. And then it tracks it in the Instagram sheet. So all that happens within a matter of maybe less than a minute or so, I would say. And so like this is kind of like looking at it from the pipeline view. So, but this is looking at it from the workflow view. So this is the trigger in N8N. So if I click on it here, the step is just basically the trigger is every hour right here for the interval. It just triggers at that time. So that basically says that this workflow is going to start. And then it has this little script in here that I put to where it's a random time, to where right now I'm actually testing it to where it's only between like 0 to 120 seconds. But you can easily bump this up by just changing the number in here. And I'm going to give you this template so you can easily, you don't have to worry about typing all this code in here. You just have to come in here and change it. Like maybe you want it to be more than 120 seconds. So that's the wait time. And then this is basically the brain, the viral research agent. This is a step here in N8N where it's the AI agent itself. And so it has this user prompt here that says, basically the overall goal of this agent is to write a standalone viral post that's under 500 characters. And it should be related to automation, AI agents, or systems for entrepreneurs. Format the post with natural line breaks so it's ready to post on threads. Keep it friendly and supportive, and only include a call to action if it makes sense, right? So that's kind of like the general guidance of it. And then these are the more detailed steps that it follows. That says, hey, you are the viral agent for, my business here. Your goal, these are your goals. This is the format of the post that you should write in. It should be under 500 characters, self-controlled, valuable without basically not sharing any unlike contents, real advice. And I even give it some voice and style examples, right? It's saying we're not here to fix them, we're here to support them. Here's an example of a post that's called relatable. Here's an example that gives like friendly advice. Here's some call to action rules, avoid duplicates. It gives them context as well. So basically you're writing for my business. It talks about some of the methods that I talk about. And this talks about the offers, who I service, also some of the things that it can promote. So this is the stuff that you would have to change on your end once we give this to you. Like if you wanted to install this in your business now, you would literally be able to import this workflow in here, and then you would just need to kind of change this to match your particular business, right? And
Gotcha.
then from that standpoint, you'll be able to generate the post. Because the next step after that is that it generates the post, and it has this model here. And this model for the AI agent is kind of like what version of ChatGPT it's going to use. And that's the cool thing about NAN is because, there's multiple versions of ChatGPT. There's ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 5. So depending on how smart you want your agent to be, and also how much money you want to spend. Now, the money is still small. We're talking about pennies, less than pennies, but it does add up, right? So if you use GPT-5, that one costs more per process than something like GPT-4. But GPT-4 does produce quality output. So it's one of those things that you can kind of test. You can test with GPT 4.1, like I have it here now, see what kind of output you get. And if it sounds good, it sounds good because that's a cheaper model. But if you wanted to try something like 5, all you have to do is come here to change it to 5. You can come back to this step, do another test, and then you can see how 5 kind of produces something. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Question for you. So, well, two questions. First question is, I don't know which one you clicked on that had like the context of, I guess, like the prompts. So like, is that where you go to like make updates? Like if you wanted to just update, I guess the prompt or the input of it, you would just go in there.
Yep. So you would click
Okay.
on the AI agent itself here. And so, like right here where it says Viral Research Agent, that's not the name of it. I actually just titled that, by the way. If I usually title these things just so they're easier to understand when you're looking at them. But these are the two prompts. So you got the user prompt, which is kind of like the general overview of telling it how it to operate. And then the system message is a little bit more detailed. So
Okay.
the prompt here, it just kind of like have a high level overview that your goal is to write a post that's 500 characters. And then if you want to see the system prompt that has more of the detail here, this is that one right
All right.
there.
And then my
Yeah.
second question is, could you get it to reply? Like if people start engaging, can you get it to reply to comments?
Well, the way it's built currently, it won't be able to reply to comments.
Okay.
But, there is ways that you can, implement that type of logic into your workflow to where, for the social media networks that do support allowing replying to contents, you can kind of maybe build a different agent that's more so for replying to comments where
Makes
this one is
sense.
specifically for the posting.
That makes sense.
Yeah. No, no, good stuff. Yeah, so now kind of like moving on a little bit. So we kind of already went through a lot of the steps here, but just kind of like going through the beginning. So step one is the automated schedule, right? So that goes back to this step here to where every hour I just have it set to basically trigger. And you don't have to do every hour, right? You can have this do every 3 hours, every 4 hours. You can have very specific settings in here that you can say that you want this to trigger based on. You can even set it to be cron jobs, which is even more advanced or whatnot. So you can get super granular with that. I just did every hour just because I just wanted to test it at the maximum that you can post, which is up to like I believe 25, just to see how that works. And I'm going to continue it at that cadence or whatnot. But just to know, you don't have to post every single hour, right? So that's kind of what that step looks like. And then if we go to step 2 here, this is what I call the natural posting cadence. So this is where I have it set to have a random delay between 0 to 120 seconds. And this is avoided looking like bot-like behavior to where it's just posting every time at 1 o'clock, 0.00000 milliseconds on the dot, 2 o'clock,
Right.
0.00000 milliseconds on the dot, right? So that's pretty much what that is. And that's this particular step here that's called rate random time. And all that is just like a little script of code that just literally, it's kind of like rolling a dice. Every time this thing runs, it's just going to have a different number between 0 and 20 seconds. And of course, I said you can increase that just by coming here and changing like something like this from 121 to 122. And now that's adding even more time to it or whatever. So that's kind of what that one looks like. All right.
And that's such a small detail that's super important. Like I would have never thought, like, okay, let me make sure that it's not running like every single hour on the hour, like
An hour.
to the
Yeah.
millisecond. You know what I mean? So like it's such a small detail, but like if you miss out on that deep detail, you could potentially get your account blocked or banned or something because to your point, it seems like it's a bot that's
Yeah, it seems
communicating
like
and
it's
just
bot
posting.
behavior. And so that's why I said
Yeah,
you could even randomize it even more than that. You can definitely go further than just 120 seconds to where you're posting within minutes or out or whatnot. But like I said, it's definitely good to randomize it. It's just from experience and knowing how automation works.
hmm
And, that's some of the things that the networks will be looking for is those consistent type of things. So this kind of helps you against that, right? And then step 3, which is the brain, that is the AI generated content. That's this part in the system here where we have this research agent. And like I said, that's just a step in it. Like if you wanted to see what the step looks like, if you were to add it yourself, like if I was to click on this little plus icon here and go to AI, there's this little thing here called AI agent. So like if I click on it here now, you can kind of see that's basically the same step as this. And so that's like this one is just completely blank. So it's, instead of you having to come and program this by yourself, that's why I'm giving you the template so you don't have to worry about programming all this by yourself. You just have to just import it into your account or whatever. And so overall, like I mentioned, we have the prompt user message and then we have the system message. And all you need to do is just update these to be more on like with your brand. Now, I'm going to actually show a real life example of how you can do that because earlier today I connected my wife's account, Teresa, to Blotato because she wants to implement this same process into her business as well. So it's like what you would want to do is the easiest way is to say, hey, come to ChatGPT and I would say, I want you to update this system, or no, this user prompt to reflect my brand. Keep it about the same length, right? So then I'll post that there here, and then I'll put something like my brand details. And so then what I'm going to do real quick here is shemanifestmoney.com. All right, so now I'm going to come to, the website here, and I'm just going to copy this all. So you come here, and then I just put that there now, and so here's an updated prompt here. Write a standalone viral post that inspires women to step into their next level of identity with clarity, confidence, and consistency. We take all that information here, and we put that here, right? And now I'm going to do the same thing here and say, please update this system prompt. Also, keep about the same length. Then I put in my system prompt here. And so now it's like the mentors women on stepping into our next level identity goals. And so all the stuff that it would be saying about my brand, right? It's rewording it based on her brand just by using the sales page. You don't even have to use the sales page. You can use, maybe you have a lead magnet, some course content, just something that it has to easily model so it has a good reference point, right? So now I take this here and then I put that there, right? So like if I was to give you this thread, that's all you would have to do. You can literally just take that's from right here, put in ChatGPT with some information about you, take that one, and now this particular step is done, right? Because these two steps, you don't really need to change unless you want to either increase or decrease the frequency. This one here, you do have to change. And as I mentioned, if you did want to try a different model than other ChatGPT 4.1 mini, which is what I'm using, because like I said, how literally less than a penny, but you can try other models, maybe a little bit more expensive, but not like dollars expensive. We're still talking within pennies, but 4.1 mini is a good one to roll with. So that is the step for the viral research agent, right? And then we have one last little step here, and that's with Blotato and the automatic posting. So once you have your innate account here, once again, you will have to have Blotato to be able to use this agent. Otherwise, you could try to manually have a step to post to each thread, kind of using like their own API, but it's going to be a lot more difficult. Blotato for $29 a month just makes it super simple. Because like I said, once you sign up for it, you're going to basically log into Blotato, and then once you log into Blotato, your screen's going to kind of look like here, so you can kind of see what you have here. And you're not going to need any of this stuff on the left side, hand side, none of it. The only thing you need to worry about is coming down here to settings. And then once you come down here to settings, you can see all the different accounts that it support. And so you can see as well, I have already connected my accounts and Teresa's account. So that's why if I go back to my NAN agent and look at this step here for threads, under the list, both of those show up because those are the two that I have connected. Now, I'm going to later go through and connect my LinkedIn account, connect my Instagram account, and all the other accounts that I have access to. So then, like I said, I'm not just having to only post on Instagram threads. If I don't want to, I can later expand this to where it's not just that, it's multiple networks as well. But it's as simple as once you log in, you're going to come here, you're going to connect your accounts. So for instance, like when you clicked on Instagram threads, all you're going to do is going to just ask you to log in. And then once you log in, that's all you have to do. It's super simple. You don't have to mess around with any like code or other stuff like that. And then you just do need to get your API key for Blotato. So you're going to come here up to API. And then you're going to click on copy key here because you're going to also have to come to this step here where it says like connect to your accounts here. You can see I already have my account connected, but like if you were connecting your account brand new from scratch down, you click here where it says like create new credential. And then all you do is just post that API key in here, just like that.
Yeah, that's simple.
And then you just say save. And now you instantly have had the ability to post on all those social media networks. You don't have to mess out with any other API keys or nothing. Blotato is now the middleman to be able to post to all those networks. So now if I wanted to run through this workflow here, I'm going to just change this one to be Teresa's name. That's all I have to do. And that's all you would have to do. You would just have to connect your API key, connect your Instagram Threads account, select it from the list, and then now we save it. So now if I click on save here, oops, I think I did make a change here on this one. Let me fix this one. Yeah, I did do that. So let me fix that. Okay, I've changed that. Let's save it. And so now we can just do a quick run through. I'm going to click on execute workflow. And you can see that it's already doing this thing. It's waited a random time. It's thought about it, and it said this is already executed just that fast,
Wow.
right? So now I'm going to go to Teresa's account here, and let's see if it's posted for us here. One thing I always suggest to check as well is your execution logs, just to make sure there's no errors. Okay, so I'm going to go through that. Sometimes it will take a couple of seconds where it appears here. I'm just going to go through here just to see what it came up with. So I can already see that it generated the post here. So we just go to execution logs and we'll check it out. So we can see that it ran here. It ran the random time. It just looks like it ran for a couple of seconds here. And then the viral research agent did its thing. And then it created this post here that we can kind of see where it says your next level self is in a distant dream. She's already inside you, waiting to be revealed. And then if I go to the step here for Blotato, I can see that it shows that it posted it here on her page. It shows that the post submission. And then also if I can see this Google Sheets, which is the very last step that we'll look at here. And I'm going to pull up that Google Sheet real fast.
And this is such a game changer because like it doesn't even seem like it requires too much to set it up. Like I know you're like being detailed and like explaining it, but honestly, it's like we're using 3 pieces of software, maybe 4 if you include Google Sheets. But like the fact that you can get this set up so quickly, and then literally like you just set hers up, and I'm pretty sure it's probably showing now, but it literally
Yeah,
just
because I
posted
can
as soon
see
as
it
you did
here in
it.
the Google Sheet, as you see, right? So now
Oh
if
yeah,
I was to
yeah,
go
yeah.
back
That's crazy,
and then
man.
refresh, and there it goes. Right? Your next level self is in a distant dream. She's already inside you, waiting to be revealed. It starts with small, clear choices that honor your worth and vision. Confidence growth shows the process. You're exactly where you need to be to step fully into your power, right? So,
What did Boosie say? Come on, man. Man, like,
come on, man.
bro, it's too easy, man.
Man, so like I said, the beauty of it, that just ran for her less than a penny. An hour from now, it's going to run again. Completely different content, right? And so, if we were to go back here to our very last step, tracking the posts, this step isn't necessarily required, but I just think it's just good to have because and I'll talk about that why in the next step, why it's good to have a good history of all of your posts because it's going to allow you to do some real cool stuff. So before I continue into wrapping things up, just talk about some of the results that I've been able to get so far. As you see, a fully automated content daily pipeline, 24-hour, or should I say post every hour, 24 hours a day, consistent posting without any effort. And now it's just super strong foundation for more growth because I'm actually, the periods coming up, I'll probably scale down the posting a little bit, but I'm going to experiment with just different types of posts as well. Right now, I'm just going completely volume just to see how it works. And it's been doing very well overall. Like I said, we got, plus 500 views over the last 7 days. But now let me talk about what's coming next, right? Some of the things that I have noticed is that sometimes it will repeat a lot of the same themes, right? It may say a post like this at 4 o'clock, and then at 7 o'clock, it may say something very similar to that. And so that's something that we can change into the workflow to make it a little bit smarter. And that's why I've documented or created this spreadsheet of all the posts that is written because this now becomes almost like a knowledge base, right? And so the cool thing about N8N is it allows you to plug in what they call here in the AI agents memory. So I can plug in memory, basically saying, look at all of the posts that you've already posted before to make sure you don't post the same post again. And so that's like something that I'm going to be working on the next version of it. to where I'm going to basically be able to plug in all the posts that it's already half look done, and it's going to look at that every single time before it posts, so it's not going to continue to post the same stuff, right? So that's going to give a lot more variety, and then just avoiding the repeats. And then smarter scheduling. As I continue to post at all hours, one of the cool things about if you look at your analytics and Instagram, it's going to show you like when people are responding at the most periods, the peak periods or whatever. So instead of, 24 hours a day, I may find at 2 a.m. a lot of traction. So definitely I'm going to post at 2 a.m. And then maybe it's not a lot of traction until 8 a.m. And so maybe I won't post again until 8 a.m. And so start hitting those peak times. And so that's what we'll be able to look at in the version 2. Stuff like engagement tracking, this is kind of similar to what you said, Don, as well. Like if people are liking, replying, sharing, and then commenting on it, how can we feed that back into the AI to do other stuff, like maybe responding to their comments and things of that nature?
Yeah.
Um, and personalization, being able to pull more stories from my framework. Now, this little agent that we have here now has a very small box, right, of information that it knows about me. And I think there's even a limit to what you can put in here. But once again, you can use like the knowledge tool, the memory tool to plug in a lot more detail about yourself to where now this literally has so much information about your business. You feed case studies, testimonials to where it's literally pulling real life stuff. And to do that, that's going to be a whole training on itself. But what you can do is you literally can create basically like your own LLM for your business. And this is something that I've been working on here now, and I'll kind of show you. And LLMs obviously stands for large language model, but it's basically just a way of fine tuning um, basically like ChatGPT or any AI that you're working with on your business. So what I did here is I came into this conversation and I told it, basically I asked it, can you give me all the details that you know about me? And so it started this whole process of building out all the details that it knows about me. And so I continued to give it more details and more details. And then I was like, okay, tell me what you know about the testimonials that it has. Because one cool thing about ChatGPT is that it, as you continue to talk to it, it knows all this information about you. So now I'm asking that information back. So it's now building me a solid document that I can now have as almost like a huge PDF file that I can put in to train it to say anytime you say anything about me or write any content about me, make sure you look at this huge document that you have about me as well. And so I just kept giving it more information. I was giving it like my stuff from my LinkedIn page. I was giving it my client testimonials. I was giving it so much information. And then I also just told it, I want you to know that I'm trying to build you as a large language model. So that way, when I build my AI agents in the future, I want to be able to have all of this information about myself. And so what it eventually got to here was this super comprehensive profile of me, my family, my major client experiences, my major testimonials, my major client highlights, my positioning about my business. So now I take this document and then I can put it into here as the knowledge base. And so now when it's generating those posts about me, it's not just using this small little snippet of information. It has tons and tons of information about me that is going to be able to once again sound completely on brand, because that's really the whole point of that step here, is just being able to be more completely on brand to where the AI doesn't hallucinate. And then the last thing is adding in safeguards. Now the way I have it right now, it literally is hands off, where you don't have to approve the post if you don't want to, but you can if you desire. Some people don't trust AI to completely post something on their behalf without them taking a look at it. But it is very possible to where we can add a step into this workflow that says, before it actually posts, send me a notification. If I say yes to it, then you post. If I say no, then you try to rewrite it again. And so that's all stuff that I'm looking at is for version 2. But at least with version 1 right now, you can plug it into your business. All you got to do is, I will be able to download this file. All you have to do is come in here, say create new workflow. You're going to click on import file. And the same thing that you see on my screen is going to be in your screen. And then all you got to do is just plug in everything that you saw me just do. And then you're ready to run.
Man, that's so fire, man. That's so dope. That's so dope. And I got a question, right? So, and you might have touched on this. So if you go back to like your workflow, right? Because
Mhm.
you made a good point of keeping the Google sheet so that you can pretty much track all the content, and then you can pretty much pick out like the redundancies or whatever. And again, you might have already touched on this, but I just want to, I guess, clarify. So you can connect like the brain, let's say, you can connect another one to the Google Sheet, right? And then
Hmm.
have it, I guess, take the data from the Google Sheet, analyze that data, and then maybe spit out a different output. Like, is that a possibility, you think, to kind of eliminate it kind of being not repetitive, but kind of keeping the same overall themes over and over again? Like,
Over
if
and
it has
over
a list
again.
of like 100 posts, like would it be beneficial to connect like the open AI or whatever to the Google Sheet on the back end, and then have that information filter through there as like a, I guess, I don't know if you would call it like a safeguard, but to make sure that every piece of content is like fresh. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah. No, yeah, you definitely can. You can, and it doesn't even have to be a Google Sheet. It could be a
okay,
Google document as well. Like you can put like the top 100 types of inspirational posts or posts from like competitors that are very similar to what you want and say, yo, I always want you to review these and write through the lens of this types of posts or whatever.
it's a
And then
good
also,
point.
there's other stuff that we can do as well to where we could even have it go out and search the internet to search for what are the most trending topics as well. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of just coming up with just a random post, only look for trending topics that you can find information on. So there's so many different cool things that we can do to expand this for sure.
That's fire. How do you feel about? Because I know you mentioned Threads, you mentioned X. How much more complicated would it be for like? Because Instagram is more like images, videos, and stuff like that. Like, do you see it being more complex because of the video features that Instagram has, or do you think it would still be like the same kind of flow?
It would definitely be a little bit of a more complex flow, but still just a flow,
Yeah.
of building it out once and then figuring out all the necessary aspects to it. Because, like with platforms like LinkedIn and Instagram, you can post videos and you can post photos as well. And Blotato allows you to do that. So, like, if I come back to this one here where it says post a thread, it actually has the ability for me to put a media URL in here. So
Mm-hmm.
that would be like a picture. So say for instance, if I had a Google Drive of just lifestyle photos, I can have it a step in here that basically says randomly go to my Google Drive photo and just pick one of those pictures and
Mm-hmm.
then take that picture and put it here. So then when it posted on my threads or on my Instagram or my LinkedIn, it's using like the cool AI viral post, but it has now a nice lifestyle photo of me
Yeah,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. Bro, that was literally going to be my next question, was the Google Drive. Like, can you connect it to the drive and then have it go through like a folder of images or videos? So that's fire.
Yeah.
That's fire.
Yep. So yeah, right now, like I said, that we just literally scratching the surface with this. Once we add in like the image generation to where, and now the cool thing about it is you could also have it to where ChatGPT could just generate the images for you. You
True.
can have another step that says, so like how this is the viral research agent, you can have another step that's the AI generator that says basically take what contextually what this post is about and now generate an image that reflects what this post is. And then you take that image and then you upload it to the social media network. So
Yeah.
you can either, like I said, have the AI generate an image that's contextually close to what you're talking about, or you can just have like a random photo that you just grab from like a Google Drive that you set up.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, this is so dope. Also, man, it's like what you created was like the foundation, like of how to get it from. You created the foundation of like how to automate the whole process, but now you can just customize it and add little things. Like the hard work is actually done. I feel like the most tedious thing is having to go on there and post manually, and you just eliminated that whole thing.
Yeah, that part is done.
That part is done. So now it's like, okay, if you wanted like to tweak it a little bit or add a little bit of flair to it, you could just go ahead and just add to the hard work that was already put into it. So nah, that's dope.
Nope. Yeah,
That's
so like I
dope.
said, I think this was probably one of my funnest agents to build, but super simple. When you look at the grand scheme about it, it's super simple.
Yeah.
So before we kind of wrap things up, I did kind of want to go over one couple little things here. We're literally at just the pinnacle of where this is going, right?
Yep.
It's like we are the future of agents, but I mean the future is pretty much here. You can see what I just did right now was not possible a couple of years ago. And by next week, next year, the things that we're doing now is going to seem like just mind blowing. So it's like, this is the perfect time to start implementing this stuff in your business because if you're already behind, you're only going to get further back. And the things are changing so fast that it's going to be hard to catch up because this is literally like replacing a part of your day that you normally would have to do yourself, or have to hire somebody to do this. And you can see that you're not going to be able to pay somebody less than a penny per post to get something done. But this system's literally just working in the background doing all the stuff for you. So that's where we're at. We're literally at the future. And when I say that, I mean like the future is here. And so now the decision is going to be is, are you going to take the next step to actually move forward and take all this stuff that we just talked about and implement it, or are you just going to kind of watch from the sidelines, and then a year from now it's going to be like, man, should have listened. We
Yeah,
should have
yeah.
did it.
Not a year,
So
not 5 years from now, a year from now. You said
yeah,
it. It's like, with AI, it's just moving. Things were already moving fast with the internet, but like now with AI, it's like, man, 6 months from now, who knows? You know what I mean? A year from now, like who knows what, the world is gonna look like or business in general. So I mean, it's just so important to get on this stuff now. And even like also like implement these things into your own business, but it also creates another revenue stream for other things. So like once you implement something like this, you can now bring it to somebody else and say, hey, I can install this for you, and you can make money that way as well by installing your agents into other businesses or entrepreneurs or whatever the case may be. So it just creates like a whole new opportunity for everyone to
it
thrive.
does, because everything that I just showed, right? You don't have to just do it for your business. You can literally go out and do this for somebody else to get paid for it.
Right.
So this is giving you freedom and consistency in your own business. And like I said, this is just a start. So now my question to everybody who's watching this: would you trust an AI agent to post on your social media every day? I think we just showed you that with the right guardrails, with the right setup, you should definitely feel pretty confident with it. And even if you don't, like I said, there is a way that we can show you that we don't have to post automatically. We could even have it to where, as they call it, is human in the loop, to where you actually have to approve it before it goes live. That'll be the next version of this video. But definitely, I hope that you got something out of it. I hope, Don, that you got something out of this as well. And I'm
Yeah.
just looking forward to our next video so I can see some of the cool stuff that you're working on, what you're cooking up. But I think in this one here, I think we got Instagram threads covered.
Let's get it. Dope. Dope.
All right, man. Any last questions? Any last words?
I mean, I'm just excited to keep producing more content like this. And man, I think you touched on pretty much everything as far as like the opportunities and things of that nature. So I just hope that everybody really takes the time out to like try to build it out yourself, but also like start to understand why these things are so significant. You know what I mean? Like, and this is just a small thing that I'm sure took you a little bit of time, but not as much as it would have before. So I just think the impact and the significance of it all. I just hope that people really like pay attention and take heed to it, because this is the future. You know what I mean? And that's all I got to say about that.
Nope, that's all good to go. And before I let everyone go, definitely, if you are wondering how and if AI should be used in your business, if you're wondering why it's not saving you time, if you feel like you've been spinning your marbles, I definitely invite you to take our AI readiness scorecard here. This scorecard is only going to take you less than 2 minutes. You answer a couple of questions, but it's going to give you a clear path here to exactly what you need to be looking at when it comes to implement AI in your business. And then also a game plan on where you might be struggling with certain things. So go ahead, take the quick quiz. You'll get your results in less than 2 minutes. And with that, we will see you in the next video. Peace out.
Peace.